We now move on to section 2 of the blanket, and it starts with 4 rounds of granny stripes just to make a nice border edging around the centre squares. And to start with, our first round is worked on the reverse of the blanket. So I've just turned it over and we're introducing another darker shade to go alongside the double denim as a deep tone, and this is the Stylecraft Special Bottle Green, which in my opinion represents the colours of the Christmas tree that the baubles will be hanging on. So we're going to work this round in trebles, and so chain 2 for the first treble and 2 more trebles in that same corner. And then it's simply a case of working 3 trebles in each space along all 4 sides of the blanket. So it's very basic and very simple, but it does make a nice contrast to the really bright colours that the centre is made up of. Now there's really nothing much to worry about in this part of section 2. There's just one little thing that we have to do differently when we come to the point where 2 of the squares from the centre are joined together, and you've got the corners of each square right next to each other. What we're going to do there is, instead of having 3 trebles in each corner, which would give us too many stitches, we're going to put the cluster over the top. Now I've just pulled back to let you see that nice dark contrast as we work these treble clusters. It's a really nice border for the centre. Anyway, I'm just about there, and we're going to work from one corner into the other and put the cluster over the top, which sounds a bit complicated, but it really is quite simple. And all you have to remember to do is every time you come to a join between the 2 squares, to do this same treble 2 together technique. So I think this should be the last one I'm working on before the corner. And there you can see we've got orange and turquoise, the 2 corners, and we're going to work with starting off in the orange corner and then over the top to the turquoise. So we're going to start off in exactly the same way. Treble 1 in the first corner, and then we're going to do a treble 2 together, and that means that you start a treble but only go as far as 2 loops left in the hook, then yarn over into the next corner, pull up a loop, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, and then finish that with another treble. So it looks slightly different at the bottom, but at the top of the stitch it looks exactly the same as the other clusters. And then we can continue along with treble 3 in each space all the way along. Now I'll rattle along here and I'll show you one more of those treble 2 together clusters before I stop and move around to the end. I'll do this last treble 2 together cluster, or the next one, not the last one, and then I'll work around all 4 sides. But as you can see, that's the front of the blanket underneath, and everything's nice and smooth. So here we are at our second cluster with the treble 2 together. So it's treble 1 in the first corner, yarn over, start a second treble but stop when there are 2 loops, yarn over into the second corner, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over, pull through 3, and then treble 1 to finish it off. And when you come to the first outside corner, it's simply a case of treble 3, chain 2, treble 3 to take you round the corner, And then finally we are at the end of the 4 sides, so we just have to finish off that very first corner where you started with the usual treble 3 and chain 2 and then slip stitch into the top of the first chain 2. And now we can cut the yarn and finish off because that's the first round done. And don't forget after this round to turn over, and the second colour is going back to the another deep tone. It's going back to the double denim, and that's what we'll do round 2 in. So again, just starting in a corner, and we've got the blanket is turned over. It's now on the front, as you can see, and this round 2 and 4 are worked on the front, rounds 1 and 3 on the reverse. So we're just going to repeat exactly what we did before, and I'm just going to work as quickly as possible, although to be honest, as soon as you start trying to go quickly, that's when you get tangled. But it's 2 trebles after the chain 2 in the corner again, and then work all the way along. And this time, as you work along, it's a little easier than round 1. We only do that treble 2 together cluster when you're doing the first round. After that, it's just treble 3 all the way. And the only thing to be careful of is that you do jump over that treble 3 cluster that's sitting on top of the join, because it does look slightly different and it does look as if it might be too big to jump over, but really it's not. So we'll just work your way along. Once you've completed round 2, then you'll turn it again, the blanket again, for round 3, and it's back to the bottle colour for round 3. And then round 4 is the double denim, and again turning it after round 3. So I'm not going to work all these rounds. I'll just do this bit as far as the that funny cluster from the previous round. I just want to make sure that you know that you can just see it there. And sometimes it confuses people because it still looks a little bit as if it's 2 clusters, but no, you just jump right over it. So I'm coming up to that now. And once we've got these 4 rounds of trebles done, then we have a chance to stop working on the blanket because we've got a pile of little granny squares to make. Now we're at this funny one. It looks as if at the bottom of it looks as if there are 2 clusters, but really just 3 stitches at the top. So we're going to go into the space immediately before, three trebles, and then right over the top of it and into the space after, and 3 trebles. And that way we haven't increased our stitch count and everything is going to stay nice and smooth and flat. So there we have it. So each time you reach this point, remember that it's just 1 cluster and jump over it. And once you get back to all the 4 sides, then you just finish off your corner as normal. And here is what all 4 stripes of the granny clusters look like once they're done. Remembering to turn the blanket after each one. And that's the first part of section 2 complete. The next part is the simple granny squares, which will be in the next tutorial. So I'll see you again when we're ready to start making those.